The man that made that grab, the man that made 12 of them against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and had a terrific Utah career. 12 years later, I don't know how it's 12 years later, but somehow it is. Freddie Brown with us here on the Bill Riley Show. Freddie, how are you?
Doing excellent, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How's life? Catch us up. Where you at? What you up to these days?
Life is good. Pandemic aside, of course. I'm out here in Southern California in Orange County. I've been working at a wealth management firm for the past 7 years, and I've got a lot to be grateful for. And, just busy working away and also enjoying life.
As much as we can these days with the pandemic and everything else going on, was that the plan post-football? Is that what you wanted to get into, or did you just kind of happen into it?
No, it was. And actually, about a month prior to the draft in 2009, there was this Sports Illustrated article that came out, and it stated that about 78% of NFL guys, only 2 years after they're done playing football in the NFL, are either broke or under some sort of financial hardship. And I remember thinking to myself that, number one, I didn't want that to be me. And, of course, number two, if I could do anything to help change that statistic for the better when I'm done playing football is what I wanted to do with my career. And sure enough, I got to see, life at that level and how guys spend money. And, it was an opportunity to be in the position to help guys who are at that particular level and to make intelligent monetary decisions. And, that statistic is, not too promising. I know that things have changed between then and now. But, I've been in this industry now, again, 7 years after retiring and working with some guys in the league. And, there's really nothing like it. And it's nice to be able to stay involved, in the football arena as well. And somewhat live vicariously through them, too.
So it's been nice, too, on the business side of it, to see the market bounce back over the last couple of months, right?
Yeah, it was concerning, no doubt, to both investors and investment management professionals to see that pull back, between mid-February and into March. One of the worst months the Dow and the S&P has seen, I guess, in a few decades. But promising April, and things have seemingly gotten better through May and into this month, although we've still got a ways to go.
Talking to Freddie Brown here on the Bill Riley Show today, former Utah wideout, now wealth management manager in Southern California on Where Are They Now Wednesday. So as I mentioned coming in, I was doing something about a week or so ago, just, asking people favorite sports moments, memories, plays, not a game per se, but just a snapshot in time, Freddie. And I can't tell you, even to this day, how many people still talk about that TCU game back in 2008, and obviously the final drive engineered by you and Brian and the offense, and ironically enough, Andy Ludwig up top calling the plays offensively. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had 3 grabs on that drive, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what you remember about that day and that game. I just remember the night, the importance of the game, the crowd, which was unbelievable, and, of course, the missed field goals, but, of course, that final drive for me. What are your recollections of that particular game?
Yeah, of course, it was an important one, and, it was big to keep our undefeated hopes alive and intact. And, we knew going into the season that we had some very high expectations. A lot of guys having played together for 3 years, 4 years, and, of course, the coaching staff as well, just having that chemistry and that cohesion. During those challenging times, those adverse times, I think it really is a test of our team's character. And, we know that we had to get some stuff going, get some more points on the board, being down at that time. And, obviously with Brian's leadership at the quarterback position and just, the offensive caliber we had, and defense played really well too. We just seemed to be a little stagnant on the offense side of the ball, though, and I'm glad that we got to get the ball moving downfield, convert some much-needed downs as well, and just make the big plays when we need them.
Were you the primary on that final play? What was the play call that you remember, and did you expect to be Brian's first look?
I was expecting to see the ball thrown my way. We had some slant routes called on that play, and the way the defense was playing, kind of just tried to attack his inside shoulder a little bit and give him a move at the top and just create some separation between myself and the defender. And, Brian obviously had a ton of trust in me. I know that there was that fourth down conversion a few plays prior where he threw the ball prior to me even getting out of the break, and just a clear demonstration of the trust that he had, knowing I'd be where he was expecting me to be, despite the zero coverage and the blitz. But, yeah, on that last play, the slant, had a step on the defender, and, it was just electric. Obviously the crowd was so pivotal for us, and, Brian's just on point, one of the most intelligent quarterbacks I think to have ever played the position in college football. And knowing now he's a very successful coach as well and doing some big things. But, the whole offense was excited about that drive and that last play too.
Talking to Freddie Brown, the former Utah wideout, here on Where Are They Now Wednesday on ESPN 700. All right, I always like to do this. Let's walk back in time, even further back. You're coming out of Damien High School. You're a football player. You want to continue playing football. Walk me through your recruitment and what that was like, who all was looking at you, what your prospects were, and why ultimately was Utah a good spot for you, Freddie?
Yeah. Well, I did receive some recruiting in high school, and I did end up narrowing down the schools to a few opportunities, and those were Stanford, UCLA, and Utah. And I did not end up taking a trip to Stanford, and of course that's a prestigious academic institution. Athletically, I didn't think they had what I was looking for, specifically in the football program. And I did visit UCLA, and at that time Carl Durrell was the head coach, and their team was okay. They were not stellar by any means. Beautiful campus, and the facilities, of course, were immaculate, and the rich traditional history they have as well was something that I'd considered. But Coach Aaron Roderick, my receiver coach, recruited me out there to Utah. And when I took the trip and I got to visit all the coaches, players at that time, see the campus, the facilities, the people, I just felt like that's where I was supposed to be. Everything felt right. And, I have to say, looking back, it was one of the best decisions I could have made in my life, because just having the opportunity to play with that specific group of guys for 4 years, grow in our program, grow in our experiences, and even prior to that, just seeing what, the 04 team did, busting the BCS, Alex going number one in the NFL to the Niners, and Bogut going number one overall in the NBA draft, and Coach Meyer, and just with everything that had taken place prior to me making that decision to go to Utah was also a big thing that I thought about, when making that decision to go to Utah. And again, just one of the best decisions I could have made. And that 08 team that we had was, there's no substitute for that. And still to this day, love those guys. Consider them brothers, keep in touch with a number of them as well. And, very grateful to have been part of that specific team during that time.
It feels like both the 04, and you know this, Freddie, in sports, there's good teams, there's great teams, and then there's special teams. And 04 was clearly a special year, but 08 was an awfully special year too. And when you have a special team, that bond, which is pretty close anyway, becomes even closer. I've asked your teammates this. Sly comes on with us all the time and does some pre- and post-game stuff with us. But I'd be curious from your perspective, when did you have an idea that particular team, that particular season could be pretty special?
It was definitely before the season started. I know when our 07 year wrapped up, we did not finish the year the way we wanted to. We didn't have nearly as many wins as we were hoping to have. And, I think a lot of the guys really took ownership, not just the seniors, but even juniors, some of the sophomores, and even incoming freshmen. But prior to the start of the season, we had a lot of opportunities to converse about how great the team could potentially be. And, we had, a lot of camera crew follow the team and film practices and just, off the field things as well. And just follow us throughout the course of the season. But prior to its start, we did have that confidence that we were capable of winning every game we played that season, starting with Michigan at the Big House. And even looking back and saying, hey, there were 110,000 people at that game, and we ended up winning by 2 points. But the importance of every game was something that, we really approached with some seriousness. We tried not to overlook any one opponent. We know that there were some close games that year, but again, I feel like we had just that confidence. I do not want to say arrogance, kind of that swagger, that, we were really capable of winning every game. And, it's just kind of neat to look back and see that's exactly what happened.
I talked to Andy about this over the years. I've talked to Brian about this over the years. I've talked to Braden about it over the years and some others. But I remember being in New Orleans for the bowl game, and you guys were business as usual, but there was a real sense of calm and confidence about what you guys had and the game plan you guys had going in. And, of course, the blitz to begin the game with the hurry-up and things like that. Your numbers were phenomenal, 12 catches, 125 yards. Did you go into that game? Did you have an idea that you would be that big a focal point of the offense in that game, or did it just kind of develop that way as the game went on?
It definitely developed as the game went on. Even on that first drive offensively, Brian hit just different targets. Jeremy Brooks, Darrell Mack, Braden Godfrey, and myself. It's just Brian has that ability to, make the right decisions at the right time. And quite frankly, we just wanted to start fast. And Coach Ludwig's strategy on having the hurry-up offense was, clearly an outstanding one in that, they couldn't get their guys off the field. And we were just moving the ball. We had confidence of executing plays. And that was the game plan going in. And it was just a blast. We know that Bama was disappointed to be playing us in that game. I believe 90+% of the country thought that we would lose. But we had that chip on our shoulder. And, we got off to a fast start, 21-0 in the first quarter, I believe. And, we wanted to just keep that going. Defense played solid as well. But, our team may not have had the 4-star recruits, the 5-star guys, but there's no doubt that we had some of the hardest working guys in the country, and we had that chemistry to really just play well together and trust each other, enjoy the game as well, and turned out being a very fun game and a memorable one too.
Freddie, I've always said this. I think the star system is flawed for the most part. I think it's overrated in some ways. I understand what it's for. But to me, the hallmark of Kyle Whittingham's program has always been the ability to identify talent and then develop that talent. Because to me, and you're based in Southern California, USC wins the recruiting wars every year with those 4- and 5-star guys. But a lot of the times those kids don't then take that next step. And to me, what you do once you get inside the program is much more important. And I think that that's the hallmark of what Kyle and his staff for 15, now 16 years have been able to do. Identify guys that fit their culture and fit their program. But then once they're there, it just feels like they get better within the program. Did you feel like you got that way?
Yeah. I thought that I had that opportunity to grow and develop in the wide receiver position. But going back to what you were saying about other guys as well, there's no doubt that they have opportunities to just maximize their potential in different positions. And, of course, guys that come to my mind immediately, Sean Smith, having played coming in and move over to receiver and end up playing the corner position, 6'3", 215-pound, long-range, fast guy, very athletic. And, just seeing his versatility, coming out after his third year, being a second-round draft pick for the Dolphins. That's just crazy talent, obviously, and also coaches trusting in his ability to transition to different positions. It's neat to just see over a few year career there at Cougar, being a QB and shifting over to the DN position, being one of the best DNs, the program has seen, and Sean, one of the best corners the program has seen, and RJ Stanford, changing from the running back spot to the defensive back position, among other players. Like, it's neat to see guys maximize their potential and to have the opportunity to do so even at different positions. And I'm grateful to have had that opportunity. And I suppose somewhat a little bit more in the latter part of the career, senior year, but couldn't have been done. Like, it was a team-oriented approach that we had. Like, we didn't think that any one guy was better than anybody else. We just felt like, we wanted to do our best at maximizing our potential in those individual respective positions. And, it's just neat to have experienced 13-0 year and finish number 2 in the country.
What's it like for you now to have come in where you came into the program and now to see where it's gone in the subsequent 16 years since you were a freshman coming on campus, to see where it is now in the Pac-12, contending for Pac-12 championships? Well, what's your observation from a distance, Freddie?
Well, first of all, just thinking how many years it's been, really showing my age there, Bill. I can't believe it. No, it's crazy just looking back and seeing how much things have changed. And, going back to games, catching up with some of the guys, catching up with the coaching staff, and also players who were at one time guys who'd been on the field coaching as well. And in the facilities, of course, just seeing everything evolve has been really neat. And, it's exciting to see the program just continue to just develop. And, now being in the Pac-12, when we were Mountain West guys before, they have a tremendous opportunity to really build on the foundation of Utah football. And, it is also great to see that a lot of the coaches who, or a handful of them who were there during our years in 05 through 08 are there now. Of course, Coach Witt, really being the main guy. Just love that man wholeheartedly, and the trust he had in the coaches, the trust he had in the players that he brought into the program are really just greatly appreciated, unquestionably.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great catching up with you. I know you've got to run. You've actually got a real job where you've got to manage people's money and things like that, so I know you've got an appointment coming up. Thanks for doing this, especially on short notice. It's great to catch up, and we're going to get down there this year to UCLA, play at the Rose Bowl, assuming things are okay. Love for you to come by and say hello when we're down there. If you get up here to Salt Lake for a game this year, let me know, Freddie. But thanks so much.
Absolutely. Will do. Thank you as well.